Hey, I'm not touching the camera. I know it's recording, but hey, update time. So the whole world model project, I'm trying for context. CVPR is a really big conference and it takes a lot of stuff in computer vision. I'm trying to build a mini proof of concept work for the world model goal I have for CVPR, which the deadline is March, mid March or April, early April. It really depends on the workshop. But what I'm trying to do is essentially right now find a representation that would best work for a native world model game engine. The initial idea from the my experience was like, oh, maybe something like Gaussian spots. That wouldn't work because they're not really as interactable in terms of like imagine a game and picking up this stapler or something. Like that's not really the the angle Gaussian spots would work in terms of physics. To cut this long story short, meshes are probably the best approach. Meshes are what games use right now, so it makes the most sense. And then the other thing I was worried about is the in terms of the physics, because obviously you know how to like games already have their way that they apply physics like manually. But if you were to have a world model, it would have to generalize to unforeseen stuff, or just have to generalize in general. So like it could be something like plastic, or it could be water. And like water becomes a bit more tricky because now water is like it has to be particles, or it could be a plastic ball that has to be like elastic and stuff like that. So I'm trying to really understand how that works at the low level so I can know what I expect the model to output. And once I know what I expect the model to output, I can kind of backtrack to understand what's the training process. I was looking at some papers. I forgot the name of the papers. I think it was Diff Tai Chi or another paper. Um, but one approach that could maybe work is like you have like this data set labeled of different materials and like how they interact given different scenarios, and that could maybe help like the model better understand how an object should act, how the physics of an object should be. That could be one approach, but I'm still thinking. But I do think, funny enough, this is like way hard. Like even, the problem alone is way harder than the whole mini world thing. I think it makes more sense as to why like people prefer video based world models. I think not that they're easier, but it makes more. It's easier to get better fidelity. I was also thinking about something Jan LeCun said. He's it wasn't like it was for robotics, but I think it applies here in the sense that certain stuff just don't matter. Whereas like if you have a scene of like a bird on a tree and cars driving by, and then it's like you're training a robot to um not deal with cars or something, or like be able to maneuver cars or something like that. Like the bird may not matter, right? Small details may not matter. I think I do care about those small details because it's meant to be. It's not built for a robot. It's built for a human to be an immersive experience that generalizes. Um, so it's a harder thing in my head right now. So I'm trying to figure out how to go about it. Because like, how do you even build? How do you even like get water to work or something like that? And there are simulations to have it. And it's like, okay, you have those like physics engines, but like, how do you now have a world model engine that can like do that already? I don't know. I still don't know the lowest level of representations, or I still don't fully understand how the representations work for like a game engine where it's like, okay, here's like your here's your mesh, here's like your triangle and vertices or whatever, and then now you have your 3D ball. Like, how does that then work for water? Like, is that different set of meshes and stuff like that? I do think my knowledge of Godot is like I'm really having to put it to the work. I didn't really work with 3D. I primarily worked in 2D, so it's like it's not exactly the same, but from what I understand, it's just like you'll start to apply some of my things with like collision bodies. Like your this necessarily wouldn't be the collision body. Like you'd have like something within it, maybe like to the surface level or whatever. That's the collision body, and that helps with the physics. So with I wish I had a plastic ball, but maybe this could work effects in well. With something like this, like the since this can bend, the way of the work is like you can have one approach. It's not the material point method. It's like a I forgot. It's like a mass elastic thing or mass stretch method, where essentially it's like it now becomes you can have like springs between each point or each face or each radius or something, and that's how like it moves the mesh. So I'm trying to get a better understanding of that because once I do have a better understanding, then I can make a large step forward in actually building something. But in terms of to get a better understanding of that, I also have to do other literature review stuff, which I think I've it's helped a lot in narrowing down the way I want to approach it. So it's not a matter of like, oh, I have a wide array of options to go from. It's like, okay, a lot of these don't work for what I'm envisioning. So like now I can focus on this one without any regrets. But that's where I am. Besides, I have nothing else to say. So have a great day.